This is part 2 of programming the EVO ONE. So right here I have a programmed EVO ONE, which I've already configured the remote start bypass settings, which I showed you in my previous video. This video I'm going to cover the other side. Now down here on the bottom right of the screen, there's 3 little buttons. One says toggle, the other one says flash, the last one is for quitting, for leaving and exiting the program. The toggle button will actually change this little area from connection mode being bypass to remote starter. Now this screen here is got a lot more detailed settings, and this is for the alarm settings, the programming settings for the alarm security functions, as well as the remote start and some of the advanced type of stuff. So if you're using the flashlink and you want to get into the advanced programming, this is the stuff that you're going to want to know about. Now if you're not investing into a flashlink and buying one from us to do it yourself, I understand. A lot of customers prefer to just have us do it. Now if you're going to want to have all this stuff done, take your time and look through all these settings, which I'm going to touch on briefly. If you find there's anything in here that you have a question or you don't really completely clearly understand, be sure to just hit the pause button, zoom the screen, or just reach out to us. If you're doing business with us, of course, we'll help you. And this is going to give you a good detailed informational education on what's available on this EVO ONE, because there's a lot. Aside from the bypass, which I've already covered in the other video, you have this setting, and you also have the actual settings, which you could do through the programming/value switch, which is included with your EVO ONE when you get it in the mail. Okay, so beginning here, you have programmable output, which you can toggle from it being ignition or crank ignition output. It'll drop out during ignition and do a second accessory or a second starter. So you have 4 settings for that mode right there. Moving along, we have tackless sensitivity. So this is basically going to increase or decrease the amount of time that the vehicle is actually going to crank the starter motor. Next up, we have the remote starter runtime, which is self-explanatory. And you'll see that there's 2 settings. The first one is for a gas vehicle. The second is going to be for a diesel. So make sure you pay attention to that on that setting for setting number 4. Number 6, door locks before and after remote start. That applies to some vehicles that have factory security systems like Honda's, Acura's, some Ford systems. Stuff that has wake-up wires and requirements. Again, if you need to know that information, we provide that for free, or you can get that information when you use the install card, which came with your EVO ONE for the one-time use. When you go on to wirecolor.com, it should give you all that information. So if you're not sure, refer to that guide. Next, we got safety door locks, which is a good feature. It's kind of like carjacking, and it's a good feature. I always said that. Next one is unlock pulse time. So you can have single or double. So if you have a vehicle like a Nissan and needs double pulse unlocking, stuff like that, Volkswagens, you can set that right there through number 8. Number 9 is active or passive starter disable. So if you want to leave the vehicle and have it passively engage the starter kill, so that way the vehicle can't be started after the system is armed, that's passive. Active meaning you have to actively press the button to arm it and do the same function. 11 is your confirmation, so that was for siren and horn, and confirmation for chirp and programming. So you have silent on, first lock, and unlock press. You can hear it audibly on second lock and unlock press, and the antenna LED is active. And then, of course, you could disable it, just have the horn, whichever you prefer. Sound confirmation, that's where you can toggle horn and siren, one or the other or both. Pulse confirmation, you can have long and short. As you can see, it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff you can get very detailed with this stuff. 14, alarm and starter options. You could have the alarm on, enabled or disabled. You could have the alarm on, remote starter off, remote starter on, and alarm portion off. I don't know why you would use that, but it's there. Smart door locking. Lock when starter kill arms, arm pulse only when the alarm is disarmed. I mean, there's 4 settings. Whichever one you might want to use. Decide for your own self. Cold start timer. This is a good feature for some people that live way up north, which is where I choose not to live since I live here in Florida. Cold start timer. 3 hours at -5. If you can imagine, my God, -5. 3 hours at -5. 5 minutes runtime. You can turn this on, turn this off. It's an automated feature, so that way your engine block doesn't destroy itself and freeze and just crack and just go by the wayside. Diesel mode, you can enable, disable, delay between ignition power and starter up, which is really cool. You can make it at 10 or 20 seconds, or just enable it and have no delay between ignition power up and starter crank, so it'll be simultaneous. Turbo mode, you can turn it off. You can have it stay on for 2 minutes or 4 minutes after the vehicle is shut down. Engine supervision, you can have it on for tack wire if you want to hardwire it, or have it tackless and have it wireless. Have it done through tackless sensing. You got start crank 8 seconds. You got another one here for crank 8 seconds plus supervision with data link tack, which would be connected through the CAN bus. Start attempts, you could have 1, 2, or 3 times lady. And we're still going. Special applications, you have disable app 1, 2, or 3. Your preference if you're using that type of stuff. Up to this point, I haven't had anybody ask me for it, but it's good to have. Over here, you have auxiliaries. So for your lock, you could have it latched or have it, momentary, whichever you prefer to have that function as. Hybrid mode, you have hybrid and gas or diesel. Alarm duration, so when the alarm does set, you can have it trigger and go, go off audibly and visually for 30 seconds, 1 minute, or 2 minutes. Here you can customize your valet code. You see all these different choices, which is very cool. Next, you have special application programmable outputs. So you got, you can enable it with ground outputs like ground running. You could do this with this white wire. You could have it be a positive output for a trunk pop. You could do some stuff with the orange, the pink, the yellows. You can mix around all these different wires. I mean, this is really something cool. I love that. Flexibility is a big thing with these EVO ones. Ground output, again, you got 5 arm, rearm. I love that. Start or disable, shut down after start, which is very good for certain vehicles out there. Shut down 3 seconds after remote start time. I mean, this can be configured to just tackle any problem you can come across in the garage. I mean, wow. Manual transmission ready mode activation. You got activated by remote start only, or automatically activated by handbrake and foot brake on. Shut down one lock with a remote. And we're getting close to the end. Trunk output, you could have the pulse timed output right there. You can configure the door unlock, special applications. You can also alter how you get in and out of valet mode, either through the wired button or through the remote control, which is super cool. Super security remote start special application. So here, security on, shut down engine if the door is open before unlock is pressed. So that would mean if you had the vehicle on the remote start and then an unauthorized person were to come up and open the door, the vehicle would stop running under remote start power unless you, the end user, hit unlock on your remote through your factory transmitter or expansion kit like the drone or the RF kit, which you could buy separately. Hit unlock to keep the vehicle under remote start so that we can get in, drive your car away as normal. Feature 38, system control by OEM remote. You can enable it or turn it off. And this is very important, especially if you're purchasing an optional RF remote kit to extend the range on your EVO. And lastly, we have 39, which is the temperature option. You can turn it on and off. So auxiliary 1 will activate at -5 Celsius when remote started. And this is in the manual, folks. So there you have it, all 39 options. And this is for the EVO side, not the bypass side. The bypass side is in the other video, which I'll have a link. So that's for your bypass, if you're using it as a standalone, if you just want to set up some of the bypass features. But this is where all the good stuff and the bulk of all the real customized programming is in my book. So there you have it. This is how you do the EVO ONE detailed settings.